Trekking, heavier traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
Oh yeah, and then we went to Amsterdam. That was fun.
Oh, did you just kiss the protests?
We missed it.
Good for you.
Wait, there was we saw the flags, and then there was the soccer fight. Did you know this, by the way? There was it was after we left. This is when I was in Denver. There was a big soccer match between the Dutch team and Israel.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then that turned into a thing, and there's a giant brawl. Which isn't that weird for soccer, but now you're mixing in politics and religion and.
I don't think
everywhere.
the Dutch should be allowed to protest for at least another 500 years about anything. They're not. They've lost that privilege.
Listen, they're doing fine.
Get the Jews out of here. You guys did this once to several different groups.
And you had the balls to make a museum out of it.
Yeah, and be like, what black people? We don't know them. No, we're fine. When you say black people, did you say Jew say?
The whole town doesn't make sense.
We went to a museum there, and they were basically just zero mention of the slave trade, the Dutch trading company. They were all just kind of oh yeah, and then the friends that help us lived in the back. And there's one photo of a slave. Clearly,
I didn't know they had slaves.
The Dutch trading company. They were the shippers. They were the Amazon of the slave trade.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's why they're just what us? No. They're being very coy about it. But yeah.
Wow.
They're just no, Anne Frank lived in that house. It's yeah, but also you guys
gave her up.
You guys gave her up.
You guys gave her up, dude. What are you talking about? Yeah, that museum stunk.
Man, that was the worst museum.
Yeah.
Did you go in?
Yeah, we bought tickets, and they let too many people in.
Yeah.
Because it could be cool, but they let too many people in, and then it's just everyone's on their little recorders listening to the story.
Yeah.
And there's you know what it felt like? It felt like an open house in New York. And they let 150 people in, and they were all just meandering around. It stunk.
I heard someone say about that. They were like, don't go to the Anne Frank. And they're like, why? They go, she's not there.
Yeah, it's a house.
It's a house.
She's not there.
She's not there. What was that?
It was a video someone
It was so
made.
good, though.
Yeah,
She's
you
not
sent
there.
that to me. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Get ready to hear that story again, because I'm telling it on the podcast.
Oh, we've been recording.
Oh, good. Then we'll start it right there. Amsterdam. Listen, we had a great time. It was one day too long.
Definitely one day too long.
That's who you and I are. We got into an argument day 3.
Yeah.
And there's some point in the argument where I forget if it was you said it to me or I said it to you, but I'm like, we're not even mad at each other. We just want to go home. And then you started laughing like that. And we're like, you do want to go home.
Yeah.
I wanted to go home.
I hate who we are.
Dude.
I really do. We suck at traveling.
We get there, and then after a day of being in the town, you even said it. We were in bed, and you're like, I get it.
Yeah. I get it. There's bikes everywhere, canals,
Dude.
good food.
Nothing makes me want to own a pickup truck with blue jeans and cowboy boots more than all those bike riding Dutch sprinkle bring 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 bring, and I'm like, man, I don't like any of you.
So that's how I feel about America. Traveling in America, I'm like, oh, what am I going to go out in Dallas to their Chili's? It's all the same thing.
It's all the same.
One after another.
The good thing, I guess, now is it's not Chili's. Now you're going to the same coffee shop with the industrial feel, concrete floors with the metal chairs where you pull it out. For the love of God, put a felt tip bottom on your metal chair in your industrial damn coffee shop. Mm-mm. You have the room for 8 toilets, and you still got one in there. You know what coffee's going to do to all of us. You need 8 toilets.
Poop juice.
It's poop juice. We're here to stay regular. Yummy. But no, we enjoyed Amsterdam. We liked the canals. You and I liked our favorite part of that trip, or mine, you can correct me if yours is different, but my favorite part of the trip is you and I sitting on a bench at night overlooking
That was my favorite part too.
It involved nobody. It involved none of the experiences. No one was around. No one was around.
That was the best part.
Yeah. I think, if you and I, because we sleep a lot, if we overslept the apocalypse and then woke up and went outside, I think you and I would have 3 days of bliss before one of us went, where is everybody? This is great. Why is everything so great? Everyone's gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where is everybody?
6 months into the apocalypse, you pick up, you're on your phone, you'll be like, still nobody there. What is going on?
No notifications on my Instagrams?
The weather app stopped working. There's fire in the sky. You'd think they'd say something.
Yeah. And Amsterdam's great. Everyone's too tall over there.
Too good looking.
Yeah, everyone's tall and gorgeous. I felt like Danny DeVito and Twins in that entire. Like they just had 8,000 Arnold Schwarzeneggers and just me. Like, and honestly, like none of the. I'll say this: I don't know the history of the Netherlands, but everyone's tall, and all the buildings are small. There's no space. The stairs are narrow and hard to get up and steep, and the shoes are made of wood. This looks like a giant fiasco for these tall, ginormous people. I think this used to be a country run by gnomes, and these giant blondes came in and kicked them into the canal and went, "This is our town now." Was that the right accent? Was that close?
Don't ever do it again.
Yeah, I don't care if the Dutch are offended by anything I say, so sure, why not? Apparently, it's their nutrition, their great health care, they're very rich, and natural selection. Tall people make tall kids, and that just keeps going.
See, natural selection, that means all the women choose all the tall men, and the tall men take the tall. So if I was over there, I would just be a lonely man on a bench.
Yep.
Just over there, like, I have a pecker too.
Apparently having the time of your life. It's your favorite part ever, being alone on a bench. You just described your perfect day.
Yes, I did.
You're like, oh, I'm moving to the Netherlands, aren't I?
Buckle up, we're going to the Netherlands. The people were nice. I didn't have an issue with the people.
nice.
Everyone was friendly.
Great food.
It was good
food
food.
was really good.
We went to that really good restaurant that was built in that house that's falling over. There was a house that's falling over. A lot of them are. And like when we were outside, the wall to come in is tilted this way. And then you go inside and then you can really see how janky it is. It's just old. It's been around since they wore the big dresses with the big poofs. You can't sit down. And it's been around for a long time. And what was the name of that restaurant?
Something Seagull?
Something Seagull.
Seigel.
It was good. It was fancy. It was one where we had the scene from Titanic where they gave us too much cutlery. And I looked at you and you looked at me and you gave me the Kathy Bates response. You're like, just start from the outside and work your way in. And I messed up. I saved too much of my cutlery because I didn't know how many courses were coming.
Yeah.
So like every time I would just go and then I'd put it off to the side and then they would take the plate, bring the new plate, and I'd use the same fork again.
Yeah, he came in and helped you.
Yeah, he's like, let me clean up some of your golf clubs here. You're using a wood and you should be on a 9-iron.
Was it De Silveren Spiegel?
Spiegel sounds right.
Spiegel, maybe?
Historic Dutch restaurant that is leaning to one side at least 10 degrees.
Yes, that's probably it.
That sounds right.
People like it.
It's really good.
9.8
really
out of
good.
10 stars.
It was really good. It was high dollar.
That's also what it says on these. I was looking, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, they're proud of it, but it's good. It's really good. It's not one of those where you're proud of it and then you're like, wow, you really hosed me there, didn't you?
No, yeah.
No, it was a fair trade.
Yeah.
There's like, anytime the waiters are old, you're like, this place is going to be expensive.
This place rules.
This guy never went off to do anything else. He's still a waiter. And he's wearing a bow tie and a jacket. Like, this guy's a professional waiter. He's going to tell you which tap water mixes well with the calamari. You know, like, still, the other one, the one from the canal. That was it.
We took a canal cruise when we were there.
Oh, yeah.
And Becca used it just as a nap. It was like a 50-euro nap for her. We were just touring for like a month or whatever. And she just fell asleep in the entire. She still says greatest nap of her life.
I was on the
Slowly
canal.
cruising on the canal.
You want to hear something funny?
No distractions. You can't understand the word they're saying.
We had a canal cruise booked, and we decided not to go because we wanted a nap
One way or the other, you were sleeping.
for like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what got us.
Yeah, it's a
It
lot.
was 90 minutes, and we already didn't want to go, but we bought it ahead of time. So, and then she's like, how long is it? I'm like, 90. 90? And I'm like, we don't have to go. She's like, but we paid for it. But I'm like, yeah, what did we pay? $120? but we're going to go torture ourselves for 90 minutes on a thing we can just not go.
Yeah.
The night is gone.
Yeah.
The money's out the door.
They're not giving it back.
Yeah.
2 guys on a boat's not going to refund
I
our...
really don't like boats, so I'm like, it's
It's not a boat.
Yeah.
I don't think boat tours should be over 60
It should be
minutes.
30 minutes.
To be fair, 30 of it was parking and turning. Because they have to like spin and do all this stuff, and it's like you kind of like, all right, I guess we're just spinning for 10 minutes, and then you just, oh, we're coming back.
Have you done the Chicago architecture boat
Yes,
tour?
that's actually pretty cool.
That one's cool,
Yeah.
but that one is also 90 minutes, and it could be 60.
Oh, yeah.
Because the last few buildings are like, there's the post office, and it's just a government building.
Yeah.
And
And you're going
like,
back for part of it. You're like, and
Yep.
there's it on the other side. If you look to your right now, you'll see the building you saw on the left 10 minutes ago.
there's part of the Chicago Canal tour where they hook to the left, and that's where they see all the dumpy buildings and nothing. If they skip that turn and go back, we can 60 minutes, get out of here.
Yeah.
But I think they want to sell more drinks. It's like a comedy club.
Yeah.
They want the 90-minute show. They need food, drinks. They got to tip. They got to make sure the line of the bathroom winds down.
This all checks out.
Yeah, it's all business. We're all strippers. Every one of us, we're all a bunch of dancers. And but we were excited to go back. We went. We got into the airport lounge. We're such complainers.
Were you working or just
No, this
hanging?
is for Emma's birthday.
Oh, happy
Yeah.
birthday.
This is for Emma's birthday. We had a good time though. Night 1 was the best. That was with the fancy dinner,
Yes.
and they came with your cake, and they were
Night
with the
1 was
sparklers.
good.
Yeah.
Second day was good.
Second day was good.
Then I was ready to go home.
Then we were done, and then we still had 2 more days.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. But
Was your hotel good at least? Was it like a nice
hotel was really
great
nice.
hotel? Okay, good.
We had to get I make this mistake every time. I'm so dumb, where I never piece together. Hey, you're landing at 9 a.m. and that hotel check-in is until 3. And then I'm just hoping that they'll let us in. And they're like, yeah, your room's not ready. I don't have a room ready for you. And we're all like on no sleep. By the way, I had just flown back from Charlotte
Yeah.
to fly again to Amp. So I'm on extra no sleep. She's on no sleep.
Yeah, you hadn't been home in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was gone all
Yeah.
October. I was out there road dogging. And I was like, okay. And then so we went and had a coffee somewhere, and we were so tired that we were like knocking stuff over. You know, when you're that tired, they give you the cappuccino, and you're like, could you have given? And then you see your trek back to the table, and there's like a stair involved and a part where you have to squeeze, and you're like, I'm killing everything. Like everyone's gonna be covered in cappuccino if I have to walk through that.
Just dump this on my head, please. It'll save everyone some time.
And so anyway, we had our cappuccino, and I'm like, let's just get another hotel. Like, let's find a hotel just to sleep in. And then so we just walked around, walking into different hotels, going, do you have any rooms now? And they're like at 3? I'm like, no, now. And then it took us a while, but we eventually found one. And it wasn't that expensive. And then we just slept in there until like 6, and then we got up and then went to our actual hotel.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm doing that from now on.
Yeah.
And then I saw a thread on Threads, and someone posted, some genius was like, the hotel check-in should be at 10 a.m. and check-out should be at 3.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Zoltan branded hotels, check-ins will be at 10 a.m. and check-outs will be at 3.
No checkouts. You live here now.
You live here now.
What are we doing?
Whatever. We'll just keep ringing that card you put down.
It's just a bunch of housekeepers just like freaking out. They're like, we're not going to have any rooms. There's a reason it is 10. I don't know. I was trying to do a Dutch accent. That just turned weird. That just turned real racist.
It did sound, whatever race that was, it did sound like a hotel owner.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. It was Russian mafia for sure.
But yeah, we ended up having a good time. I really loved the Van Gogh Museum.
Oh, that was awesome.
Van Gogh Museum was definitely worth it. That
yeah,
guy.
I was like trying to enjoy myself. There was a moment where I was looking at a painting and I got goosebumps. So that doesn't happen. Like, wow, this is beautiful. And then Zoltan comes in and he starts making jokes. Like,
I was ripping on Van Gogh a bit.
Yeah, that's
Because
tough.
the first floor was all self-portraits. And I'm like, these are just old selfies. That's what that was the filter he chose, was to make it go all it's all a bunch of selfies. And she's like, you're ruining this for me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't help
It's on
it.
the Dutch translation. I don't want to hear you.
But I like Van Gogh. I love that. I also felt oddly connected to him because he died at 37. And I'm 37. we had one of those moments. And then I was like, oh my God, you're Van Gogh and you're dead when I'm dead. He did it. He did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't, he didn't get the Spanish flu or whatever was swimming around back then. But yeah, I was looking at his work. He's really good. Cut off part of his ear. I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I wanted a Van Gogh shirt.
Let me start in the gift shop. Wear it through the museum. This guy loves Van Gogh.
That is who I am. You know what? I like his later work. His with all artists, especially musicians, people like, oh man, Metallica's first 4 albums, but after that, Jesus, maybe they should stop. And I'm like, no, I kind of like the older ones. Like my favorite painting was actually one of his last ones with the trees that look all like you're on shrooms. I like that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really enjoyed
some good stuff. Sorry, I was looking it up. It's wild.
What other jokes did I make in there? I just made fun of the selfies thing, right?
Oh, there were so many. Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't remember them, but
Well, I made fun of the woman who was taking selfies with the
yeah.
paintings.
Yeah.
Every painting, she was just taking a picture of herself with the painting.
There were so many people doing that.
Get your greasy face away from that masterpiece. Like, you're making it worse. Just your big jug head.
Yeah.
Get out of here. That's a masterpiece. That guy worked so long in a field, and then I don't know.
There's a huge painting called the Wedding Feast.
At that museum?
No, in Paris at the Louvre.
Oh, okay.
And it's like 200 feet by 500. It's massive. Beautiful detail. And across from it, it's the Mona Lisa. And I saw a video where guys like everyone's just killing each other to get to it.
Yeah.
And he turns around, there's nobody by this gigantic masterpiece. It was just perfect. Like, who cares? What are we doing, man? People are so stupid.
Yeah. It's every situation, it's the other people that ruin it.
Yeah.
That's why the Anne Frank one was... I think I was really looking forward to the Anne Frank museum, going to her house where her and her family hid, and then just everybody there ruined it.
It also just felt very like sterile. Like,
Yeah. It's too much... I was like, this looks like a modern building now. It doesn't look like it did back in the day, back in the 20s or in the 30s when this was 40s.
Wait, was it not preserved? They just kept remodeling
Parts of it were. Like, you go into the bottom part where you start, and it looks like a remodeled, like a new coffee shop. And you're like, okay, maybe it starts later. And then, then you go up the stairs, and then it slowly starts, and they still have, like, the passageway where it was hidden, and then you go into their place. And I don't even know if my critiques about it are accurate as far as the way it looks, because there's so many people in the damn way.
I felt claustrophobic in there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get
through. Once you get up to the top parts where it's like really small and there's 50 people jammed through, you're like, let's just get on with it.
Yeah.
I can't. These mouth breathers. Get out of here.
It's like you.
I don't like anything touristy like that.
I don't like
a big crowd.
No.
I did the one in Spain, the Barcelona, that Gaudi.
Is it an artist?
He's like an artist in architecture.
You went to art school. That's
Really
why I'm pointing at
cool.
you.
I don't know. Maybe you're. How did you spell it?
I don't even know how to say
okay.
it. So
I don't know. I probably have never heard of it.
Gaudi. Oh. Gaudi? Yeah, Gaudi. Gaudi.
Gaudi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently Barcelona, he's the guy.
Yeah.
The big church is him, like all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
But we went to one of those, and that was cool. But they limit you. They're like timed. You can't, so that way you crowded. But otherwise, I don't like being around people either. I don't want to be talking to them when I'm out. Like I just want to be in my own little world, look at the wall. That's
I don't want to. You know who did it well? The San Diego Zoo. When they got when they got the penguins, when they got the pandas in like '96, they got pandas, and it was like the biggest thing. You know what they did? They only let a certain amount of people in there, but then they put those moving sidewalks, and that's how long you got to spend there, because they put your ass on this moving conveyor belt, and they just shipped you through, and you looked at the panda next group. So you had your moment with the panda bears. That's what they need to do with like the Mona Lisa. They need to put these fat touries on these moving sidewalks, and then you get to look at the thing, and then they ship you off.
You know,
to
Zoltan's a San Diego Zoo season pass holder.
Yes,
Current?
not current, but
He's like, yeah, I'm not going to cancel that.
but I will be getting it again. I will get it again, and I'm also I understand that it's a prison. I get that it's an animal.
I wasn't thinking that, but that's a good stipulation.
Because anytime I
know.
told people, like, oh, I'm a San Diego Zoo pass holder, they're like, oh, you animal. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's from when I was born.
Yeah.
You know, I get that it's wrong.
But aren't also most zoos now like rehab centers? Like
A lot of
they're
them.
not like stealing them from the wild. They're like, oh, this one was injured in the
Yeah.
bush, and we rehabbed them, and we're gonna put them back.
Yeah, eventually, but let's get our money back
In
for the
meantime-
surgery.
In the meantime, $5.
$5, you can feed them.
Well, you can buy a stuffed version of them. Just buying fish food out of a gumball machine, throw at the panda. I don't think this is part of the wild.
Listen, I fully understand I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Everyone has their hypocritical things. Like, I don't know. I just try to justify. At least I'm not like a big game hunter.
Fair.
Because they justify it. They justify it by saying they don't. Big game hunters don't call themselves murderers or big game hunters. They call themselves conservationists. I don't know if you know this.
No.
I know this because I used to work at the mechanic shop, and one of the
Because you used to bring a gun to the zoo.
no, there was a customer that would come in, and he was a big game hunter. He would fly to Africa and shoot like a lion in the face, which I'm not a fan of, but I liked him. And I let him explain, and he's like, yeah, I paid $60,000 to go shoot this animal. And I'm like, how does that work? And he goes, well, these government-run sanctuaries that they have in certain countries in Africa take care of the animals, but the way they pay for the sanctuary is every year they hand out a certain number of tags that are sold at auctions for somewhere between $50,000 to $150,000, depending on the animal, that hunters like him pay for. And then they get to go over there, they kill the animal, take the photo, stuff it, bring it back home. And then that money goes to fund the park to help all the other animals. So that's why in their mind, they're like, I'm not a killer, I'm a conservationist. And my rebuttal to him, that I didn't say, but I said on stage, is I'm like, I get that. But that's like saying, yeah, I go to Thailand to sleep with the sex workers. But you have to understand that money goes to help their families. So I'm not a pervert. I'm a philanthropist. It's technically the same thing that you're saying.
Also, if you're a conservationist, you could just give them the 60. You have it. Just give it to them. That's a conservationist.
Same with the Thailand. You could. I'm not a pervert.
Just hand them some
I'm a
cash.
philanthropist. That is so true. Yeah, but then you don't get the photo. That's
We got AI, green screen it. Just tell people you did it.
dude. Those guys that shoot those animals, you can tell that's the biggest smile they've ever had on their face. Is just holding up the antlers of like a dead deer, and then you just look down at the deer. That's the saddest day. That deer's like, that's the and then some. Like just so pumped on life, and you're like, man, for you to be that happy, that animal had to be that sad.
Yeah.
For you to have the best day.
It's so sad.
Yeah. That's a weird
I'm
one.
okay with deer hunting. I mean, those things will overrun the countryside, and people
I don't
eat
know
them
about
and use every single. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not against hunting.
No,
I'm weirded out by the photo. Yeah. The picture with it, like I don't.
keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Why is that my problem?
Yeah, like did they have that back in caveman days? Like some guy would like club a thing and be like, do a cave painting of me doing this next to it.
Just the same guy doing it in Thailand is just with like right over the ladyboy. That's when you don't keep.
Yeah.
That's when you leave it there in Thailand.
But I don't know. I guess I'm a murderer too. We went to that fancy dinner. They brought me like 7 different types of meat. I sucked it down, put a tip on it. We took a photo. There's a dead steak there. Hey. So I don't know. We're all hypocrites, but I don't know. I'm just trying to justify my zoo pass. That's all I'm trying.
That's how that started.
That was my point of this. I'm just trying to
Comes
justify.
with parking. So less gas.
We're all hypocrites, but yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time on that trip. I think. I remember our flight home. I fidgeted, and I spilled the wine all over that couple.
Oh, yeah.
That
was entertaining for me.
Yeah.
Not for you.
I fidget when I sleep.
Sure.
Like I don't know what's going on in my head. I think I'm fighting people. I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes I get punched in the head.
Yeah, I've knocked her in the head, and she's like, ah! And I'm like, I'm fighting 9 guys in here.
First time you did it, you're like, no, I was sleeping. Think she bought it?
But it's worse on a plane because at least in bed, I'm like,
I think a doctor, by the way, would call it seizing. I don't know. Fidgeting is too cute for punching your wife in the head.
yeah, it's more of a.
How'd you get that black eye? Oh, Zoltan fidgets.
You can tell us the truth.
I fidgeted down the stairs.
But yeah, when I'm on a plane, like a lot of times I'll fall asleep and then just, and I'll do that. And there's times where I fly alone. And then I'll look, and people next to me are just mortified. They're like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, oh, "I'm so sorry." And then I nod off. So anyway, on this long flight back from Amsterdam, I ordered red wine, and I didn't finish it, and it's just sitting right there. And I'm like falling off, and in my head, I'm like, "Hey, don't fidget and knock this red wine into the world." And I did it. I just, boom, knocked it, and it coupled right across the aisle. Douched him with the. That is the most staining liquid, isn't it? Red wine. It doesn't get worse unless I just had a jar of blood.
Blood.
Yeah.
That's it.
I thought you can wash blood out.
You can wash blood out?
I don't know.
You watch a lot of Dexter. I feel like you know.
I hope so, based on that show. Oh, my God.
I hope so. They're going to find the postman. But yeah, I ended up knocking the red wine over there, and it was weird because like that guy was annoying me. The entire flight, he was a loud laugher, and he was coughing without covering his mouth.
Oof.
He was one of these guys. He was just,
That is not an exaggeration.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The whole
whooping.
flight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that guy? And here's the weird part. I was watching The Joker. So I'm like, the Joaquin Phoenix would walk through with his with his laugh, and then I'd hear him, and I'm like, oh, I think that guy's got a medical condition. I think he has what this guy has. So I feel bad for him. Because at first I was angry, but then I'm like, wait, he might have whatever the Joker's business cards that he hands out.
He hands you a card that goes, "I'm just an asshole."
Yeah.
Oh, checks out.
that lines up. Yeah. But no, so before I fell asleep and douched this guy with wine, I'm like, oh, I think this guy, because me and you were like, man, what a jerk this guy is, just laughing loud and being obnoxious. It's a night flight. People are trying to sleep. And I'm like, I think he might have a condition. I think he has what this guy has, and I'm pointing at Joaquin Phoenix.
Sure.
But anyway, I ended up falling asleep. And though the wife was mean too, I remember I heard them talking to the flight attendant. They were kind of gruff. So there's part of me that thinks maybe it was like divine intervention for me to.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't feel like I was in. I think God or Gandhi or whoever's in charge just came down and flicked my hand to go, yeah.
Jeff Bezos spilled his wine on.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, though. After he got hit with the wine, quiet as a church mouse.
Hey.
It's true.
And that's how I knew he didn't have a medical condition. That's how I knew this wasn't a Joaquin Phoenix Joker situation.
How did he react?
Not well. They were pretty
Yeah,
upset.
Zoltan pretended to go back to sleep. He was so mortified. He just went.
Yeah, and then I saw them get douched with wine, and I went. I went back to sleep. And then, because Emma's here to my side, and I go like this, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Right?" And I'm like, "Are they mad?" I just kept it down. And then the lady got up, and then she went into like the nurse's stand, the flight attendant station over there.
And I could hear her. She was.
Yeah.
She was telling all the flight attendants.
Oh yeah.
Some guy just knocked his wine all over my backpack, and I looked at her backpack. It was like one of those waterproof backpacks. There was nothing
it was a
on
raincoat.
it. She was on her hands and knees, like scrubbing this backpack for like so long.
It's a team of scam artists right there. If it looks like I tried harder, they'll give me more money. That's crazy.
I was gonna tell because I've crossed my mind of like, oh, is everything okay? Like, I want to be an adult, but I can't. I can't be an adult.
So wait, I don't understand. How did you spill your wine and they never they said You never were like, oh, my bad.
I did.
No, I
spilled...
gave him some napkins. I'm like, give them the napkins, and you tried to give it to them, and they're like, no, thank you.
Yeah. And then I just and then they kept on with it, and then I went.
So as far as they're concerned, the guy next to him, splashed wine in their face. They looked over, and you were like, napkins. They're like, what? And then you just right back to sleep. Like they have the same story about you. They're like, this piece of work. Like they were mad at you.
Yeah. I imagine that flight from their half was, man, the first half was amazing. I was laughing.
What a hoot.
I was coughing. I was laughing so hard I was coughing. That's how much fun I was having on this flight. And then some neurotic sleeping nincompoop douches me with.
He might have had a condition.
He might have had a condition because he was fidgety, and then he looked all red-faced, and then he couldn't face us the rest of the flight. He might have been a narcoleptic. We don't know, but he slept for a lot of it.
Threw wine in my wife's face.
Yeah. Also, but I really do think God wanted me to.
Yeah. That's true.
That helps my mental sanity,
Why not?
right?
It helps you twitch less at night. That gets me to twitch.
That's what the psycho tells the judge after he shoved a guy onto the tracks that God told me to do it. Listen, God didn't tell me to do it, but I also wasn't in charge of my arm, and it went fling.
Very specifically.
Very specifically, it lands on two people that were kind of annoying, and then they stopped being annoying.
When the lady got up to go to run and tattletale, did you go, oh, can you get me a fresh glass? Sorry, it's spilled.
Imagine.
I had the moment because they came through again, and they're like, refill on wine, and I'm like, I don't think I should.
The guy goes, no. We've had enough.
Two, actually. And then I'm over there, two.
You'll do it like this as you're pulling down your eye mask. Good night. That would have been great.
So embarrassing. That's the thing. Like, I'd love to be an adult in these situations I get myself in. I just can't do it.
No.
I just can't do it. Like, I'm just still a child in my heart, and I'm like, well, I hope no one notices. How much longer is this flight? 9 hours? Lovely. So yeah, it was quite the experience. But we came home, and then we came back right in time for the elections.
Perfect.
Oh, it was perfect.
Don't stay away for that.
No. Yeah, we took a vacation, then we came home, and it was. I feel very sentimental when I see people voting. I'm getting soft, man. I've always been a soft person, but now I'm more emotional. I was watching the local news, and then they just show all the people in line to vote. And some people are old, and they're on like the walkers and the canes, and then people look like they just got off a shift at work, and they're quickly in line to let their voices be heard. And I got them like, I'm proud of people, you know. And like when we're at the park and I see a runner. How many times do you go, I'm proud of that guy?
Every time.
Every time. I'm like, I'm proud of her. And she's like, why are you proud of these people? I'm like, we're not running. They're running. They don't want to run any more than we don't want to run. And they're running. Like that, I'm proud of them. So, like, the day started out good, and then the numbers started coming in. And I'm like, I don't know if you felt the way I felt, but it felt like a football game, and you want one team to win. But as soon as kickoff happens, just the energy of the kick return, you're like, I don't think we got it today, fellas. You see too many blocks missed, and then you see the energy of the offense on the first drive on the other side, and you see the energy of the offense on the other, and you're like, I don't think this is going to be our day, boys. and thankfully, that is how it turned out. It was a one-sided college football rout. Dude.
And then you start rationalizing later. You're like, we should have put in the second team. Should have kept our starter in there, I think. I don't even know. The guy's broken. But
where's Bernie Sanders? Isn't he like a fifth-year senior? Get him in.
He was redshirted. Put him in.
He was redshirted. But it was, I don't know how you guys feel. I'm glad it wasn't close. Because I feel like if it was close, I think I would have been more like, who didn't vote? Mm-hmm. But because it was so far away, I'm like, I don't know that many people. I don't know that many people that I'm like, well, you didn't vote. So it was a clean sweep. It actually reminded me, I was telling this story over the weekend in Denver and Colorado Springs. It reminded me of my first boy-girl party. In 6th grade, I went to Melissa Vasquez's birthday.
Classic birthday party.
Classic birthday party. And a couple days before the party, I was on a 3-way phone call with her and my buddy Johnny C. Remember 3-way phone calls back in the 90s?
The greatest time of your life.
The greatest time ever.
You didn't tell somebody that you're on the third line? You're just listening in. They had one person has no idea.
Oh, I never did that.
Do you have a crush on Mike? And I'm just over there waiting for them to be like, ew. I'm fine. You never did that? The secret 3-way?
I did the secret 3-way.
Yeah,
You did the secret 3-way?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that should be called KGB, dude. That's the wait, is that Russian or German? It's Russian. Yeah, it's the Russians listening to your phone calls.
It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a little boy with a stuffy nose, with allergies. It's a bad idea because they're gonna hear you and then they're gonna say something to make you. I still, to this day.
What did they say to you, Mike?
Well, I had one. Her name was Brooke. Sweet lady. I intercepted a note one time. Two girls were passing back and forth, and one was like, "Do you like Mike?" And the girl who I had a crush on went, "Ew, look at his nose." Because I had allergies. I was all crusted up all the time. This was like in second grade. Still to this day, I'm very paranoid about my nose.
You look at his
Sometimes
nose.
I'll change my position if I'm talking to people because I'm like, don't look at my nose. Thanks, Brooke. And worse, she's still so hot. So annoying.
Wow, you really picked well in second grade.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And
That's hard. You don't know how people are going to turn out in second grade.
I had
to adults.
I had a real nose for beauty. Do you get it? Because it's also not. Forget it.
Remember that video we saw the pig that was sleeping and they put a treat and then he didn't wake up but his nose did this. It like did all this to like smell it. That was Mike fishing out. You don't have a pig nose, by the way. I just mean the strength of your
Carry that one for the next 20 years.
Yeah, we all have those.
Yeah. But anyway, 3-way call. I apologize. I took us down.
Oh yeah. I was about to say I also had that with chubby fingers.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one time I was on the school bus. I was holding my saxophone up like this because the kids wouldn't let me go long ways, so I'm just facing my saxophone case, and then I'm just holding on to it. And I remember Mike Allen looks over. He goes, "Man!" I go, "What's up?" And he goes, "What happened to your hands? You get stung by bees or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I got stung by bees." And I just went with it. And I just had chubby fat fingers. And I'm like,
I remember I got a haircut. I cut my hair to like here.
you cut your own hair.
No, I got a haircut. And then I went to school and this one girl, she was like, "Aw, don't worry. It'll grow back." And then I never cut my hair again.
It all stuck with us. He
Feel like it's 13 feet right now. It's just tucked into my shorts.
She has it. She always has long hair. That's how she rocks it.
Yeah.
I'm still conscious of my fingers. You're still conscious of your. You have a good nose.
It's not. It's the allergies. It's the boogies.
Oh,
I'm always
yeah.
worried they got a Stallone hanging out in there.
A Stallone.
You never heard that?
No, a cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
That's great.
Yeah, that was growing up. That was going. You got a little Stallone.
Oh my! Take my hand.
No.
Just holding on to a glove. Holding on to a green hard glove. That was a booger reference.
It was, yeah.
It was.
It was a good one.
It's fine. But yeah, Melissa Vasquez's birthday party. We're on the 3-way phone call 2 days before her party. And she asked Johnny C, she's like, "Hey, for my party, can you bring over your Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg CDs?" And he's like, "Yeah, definitely." And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, and I'll bring over my Will Smith Greatest Hits CD." And there was just a long silence on the phone. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, maybe they didn't hear me. I was like, "I'll bring over my Will Smith's Greatest Hit." I said it twice.
Like I said. So where was the applause break that I was anticipating?
Another pause. And then she's like, "That's okay." She hung up the phone.
Can you disconnect the 3-way? No, you stay on, but just get him.
You still remember that phone call.
Because I have these distinct memories in my childhood of like, I didn't have an older sibling, so I got to pick what I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And I was wrong 100% of the time. Every time I pick something, I'm like, "Those pants are awesome." And then I'd wear them to school, and people are like, "Green, huh?" You're like, dude, I had a pair of green jeans that I thought were so nifty. And people...
Well, there was your first problem. You thought they were nifty.
Yeah, those were the words I used. I was like, "That's the one, mommy." You know? And my mom was cool. She wanted me to be myself. And she's like, if you like, I get. And I'm like, I wish I had an older brother or an older sister that was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. So I had the Will Smith's Greatest Hits CD, and we enjoyed it. My mom and I listened to it a lot. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll bring this to the party. And I very quickly found out how uncool that was.
Yeah.
And that's how Election Day felt for me. was that realization that the person I voted for, nobody voted for, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll put the CD away.
Yeah, I guess he only had 2 good songs. I don't know why they didn't make a full album.
Yeah.
Same exact feeling.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. So I'm glad everyone. I'm glad. I don't know. And then everyone came in. That's always the fun part. Emma caught me arguing with myself. Remember when you came out of the bed? Because it was Election Day or day after, and I'm looking at the comments. Because I posted I made fun of Elon Musk on Rogan.
Ooh, bad idea.
Because I tried to listen to it.
Yeah.
And it was so hard because I wrote down every like Meathead Bro podcast uses like these 10 words. And then you mix in wild, crazy, 100%, and then like all these other acronyms, all these other little words. And then I posted that, just kind of making fun of all Meathead podcasts. But then everyone took it like it was like a political thing, and I'm like, no, I'm just trashing, whatever. And then, but one of the people that left a comment is a friend of mine. And he's always been a MAGA guy, and I've never defriended him or anything over it. I understand difference of opinion. That's totally cool. But he said something. He left a comment underneath publicly. Instead of just messaging me in person, publicly, he wrote something like, well, most of America voted for this guy, so you ever think maybe you're on the wrong side? Meaning, like, he got the popular vote, so do you ever reconsider your position? Which I wanted to respond with, well, McDonald's sells 1 million cheeseburgers, or the most cheeseburgers every year. Are we going to even argue that they're not top 10 best cheeseburger? Like, does that make them the best cheeseburger? Because they sell the most.
Yeah. Quantity and quality. There's a reason that's a saying.
Yes, quantity and quality.
No one's ever said that.
And then I ended up not responding. But I think he rubbed me the wrong way because he's so MAGA and so right. But anytime I'm in his town, he asks for the most amount of free tickets possible. And I'm like, you're a socialist when it comes to comedy shows. Yeah. But then, like, but everything else, you're right-wing Republican. Yeah. And so anyway, I never responded because I don't respond to these things. But I'm in my head, and I'm replaying what he wrote and what I want to say. And then she comes out of the bathroom, and she just sees my face. And she goes, are you responding to mean comments? And I'm like, yeah.
Sure am.
What does my face look like when I'm doing that?
You just go. Fully having a conversation in your head.
And on the outside, I'm assuming I'm just stone-faced.
Stoic.
Yeah, stoic. But the whole time, I'll kill you now. Yeah, so it was.
It is tough to stay away from the replying to. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'll put I was like, oh, why would I even come back at you?
Right.
So I started doing like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is just like the comment.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Just give it a nice heart.
Or if it's very clear what they're saying, go, wait, what do you mean by that? And then make them explain it. Like, okay. Yeah, that's kind of a fun way to win.
Yeah.
Waste their time.
I think the scenario I'm looking for only happens 1% of the time. And it happened on that, the clip where I'm making fun of Rogan, the alpha males clip, which is actually doing well again because of politics. Politics. Brand new politics. Are you tired of playing tennis in your?
That's why you don't actually leave the comment because you don't know how to spell the words. You're like delete. You know what? I'm done. I'll just yell at a wall.
That's actually true.
Well, there you go.
My phone doesn't know I'm trying to say sincerely.
When iPhone doesn't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, buddy, I don't know what point you're trying to make. Maybe I don't have one.
Good call.
But what the hell was I talking about? Oh, I guess the most ideal situation that I'm looking for only happened once, but it was on that clip where I'm talking about alpha males, and then someone called me a I don't know, some like jiu-jitsu guy. He had like a jiu-jitsu account. He said something negative towards me, and I responded with like something smart where I said, you know, maybe once you get that Kumara. I'm ruining this response. The more I'm saying it, I'm making
And you've had a long time to think about it.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, I had a good response, and he responded with, well, touche. And I was like, that's,
all right.
I guess that's the best situation. I don't know why I just spit everywhere.
I've had a couple of my bads.
Yeah.
You know, but I was just trying to have fun, man. I don't mean that. Like, okay, well, sorry.
I'm more sensitive than you.
Yeah.
That's what I should respond to all of them.
Nathan McIntosh had a great tweet or something, whatever it was, a photo. He said that now healthcare is just, you're gonna have to go behind Comedy Mothership and hope you pull healthcare out of a bucket.
I did see that.
And he just got like destroyed. He was telling me online, people were just like screaming at him, like, you don't know what you're talking about.
He's dude,
People
that
went nuts.
whole
It's crazy. He's like, Austin now runs America.
they do.
The comedy scene in Austin is in charge of America now. That's crazy to think. Because it kind of is. They kind of put him over.
Dude, and this is what I was gonna relate to the thing that guy told me, who's a friend of mine, where he's like, maybe you're wrong.
Right.
I think I'm wrong all the time. All the time.
It's the first time I ever thought I was right.
No. No. Every time I meet people that vote the way I do, like, you know, you go to Portland and then someone on the extreme left, I'm like, oh my God, I think we vote the same way. And then I reassess all my stuff and I'm like, yeah, but I don't agree with that. But this stuff, no.
There needs to be more candidates.
Yes. Yeah. We need more candidates. And then, but I also put myself in the shoes. If I voted right, I would have that same feeling if I looked on the stage and there's Hulk Hogan and Dana White and Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and Kid Rock, and I'm like, I'm voting with those guys?
Yeah.
Like, am I voting the right way if those guys are there? Those are the people that make me second guess if I'm voting the right way.
Yeah, the headliner before the future president just ripped his shirt off. Am I that guy?
Also, Dana White, woo, the guy who underpays fighters. Woo! Yay!
The guy who started slap boxing is now an advisor to the president. What are we doing?
And that's the part where, you know, and I know there's people that listen that voted for him. I hope I'm making whatever my feelings are not divisive and just to where I'm coming from. Seeing those guys on stage doesn't make me think that it's the right thing. Seeing those people on stage, it makes me go, I know too much about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I know too much about Hulk Hogan. I've read too many biographies about him. He's been in business for himself the entire time. He is all about Terry. Terry's in business with Terry. That's who he cares about. And I know too much about Dana White. I know too much about the pay structure, about his fighters. I know how much he's fought to make sure fighters don't get the pay that they want. I know how much he trashes boxing, where boxers get paid 20 times what they get paid in the UFC, even though boxing, no one will ever tell you, is even close to being as popular as the UFC.
Of course, yeah.
But the numbers never get released, and they're like, oh, well, this is how we pay them. Like, even the pay structure of like, well, I only paid them $30,000, but if they get fight of the night, they might get a $100,000 bonus. So you're telling me, if you give that other guy the worst concussion of his life, out of the 10 fights on that card, one guy will get a $100,000 bonus? That's like a comedy club deal saying, hey, if you sell out one of the shows, I'll give you a $500 bonus. And there are deals like that.
That's what they said. I was about to say, that's the deal.
That is the deal. Some comedy clubs, that is the deal.
Yeah.
But so you're telling me if I sell you 250 tickets at $30 a pop, I get $500 of that? That means, like, as you're running away with the cash, 5 $100 bills happen to fall out as you run into the bank. And you're like, I guess you can pick that up while I'm on my way.
We didn't have enough room in our bag, so you can keep it. People stink.
So the way I look at Dana White explaining why his horrible pay structure is fair is the same way I look at when I get an offer from a comedy club that has a $500 bonus when I make them quickly. What's 250 times $30?
A lot
more than $500.
6,000?
What is
$7,000 bucks?
What is your overhead? to where that's what the deal you're offering. What money do you
Cans
owe?
of cheese?
Yeah. Cans of cheese.
Cans of cheese and frozen chicken tenders? Pre-cooked?
Your entire staff looks like they just got a work release program.
Because they did.
Because they did.
Helium. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not. The worst deals in comedy
Mark,
club
bleep
history.
that out. Mark, bleep that out.
Mark, leave it in. Because I can't. Oh, yeah, we'll start giving you a percentage of ticket sales after we make $18,000. And you're like, what?
That's crazy.
I have to sell 600 tickets before I start seeing any back-end percentage?
That's nuts.
In what
Stupid.
world?
Yeah.
I guess I'll be at Winery, the city winery. Anyway, but that's what I hear in my head when I see Dana White talk about the pay structure for the UFC, where he's like, you have to understand that boxing, this is his explanation. Boxing, every time they put on an event, they are almost losing money or losing money because all the money goes to the fighters and promoting the event, and then it leaves the promoter with nothing. And the reason I have a hard time believing that is there's 4 multi-millionaire promoters promoting boxing for decades. Bob Arum's been around since the Muhammad Ali days. And so I don't think he's in a venture where he's losing money.
No.
And on top of that, his reasoning is like, I'm not trying to lose money on these UFC events. I'm trying to take the money we're earning to push the brand further. Oh, I'm sure a fighter would love to hear that.
Yeah.
A modern day fighter. Oh, I'm so glad my CTE that's happening now in the moment is at least helping fighters maybe possibly get paid fairly in the future. I'm glad to be a part of that, Mr. Dana White.
Yes, one day I hope the fighters can afford the bib to catch all their drool. Because I sure can't.
It's insane. Sorry for my rant.
It's okay.
Did that make sense as a because you're not a UFC person. But
No,
like,
I get it, yeah.
But when I connect it to those comedy club deals that I've showed you, I'm like, look at this crap deal.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah,
It's all a scam.
Look at this crap deal. Hold on one second. So excited to be there. Yeah, I'm very happy. $200 for round trip flights across country? No problem. Okay, bye.
What's that? I blew my guarantee on ads. And then because I forgot that we had to make a nut that was impossible to see back end money. Oh boy. Oh boy. Leave that in.
Leave it all in.
Leave it all in. There's never been more power to the comedians, and I don't want to, Yeah, that was another comment someone left under me making fun of Joe Rogan. They were like, "Oh, you shouldn't mess up your career like that," and I'm like, "But, dude." And they even wrote like, "I know a lot about comedy." You don't. You clearly don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
I know a lot about comedy. I can name 4 of them, and they're all legions of skanks.
Yes, they're all people that when you see their act, you're like, "This is good, right?"
Yeah.
Hey, this is good.
They're gonna do that for another 50 minutes. Oh, okay. Hope
else?
he got his dancing shoes on because he is doing a lot of twirls.
I think this actually leads into the last note I had because we watched the Martha Stewart documentary, and this entire conversation that we're having leads into that, which they've been putting. Did you watch the Martha Stewart?
I have not. I've been on a Ken Burns kick lately, so I haven't seen anything new.
Oh, wow.
Watched the Dust Bowl and Ernest Hemingway Ken Burns documentaries. So
I'd
that's
like to
the
learn.
last 2 weeks, buddy. Strap in.
Wow.
They're wild.
The Dust Bowl's not new.
Well, no, that was in the 20s.
No, the Ken Burns.
No, it's pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been watching them.
Oh,
we just had a
okay.
little extra weed and time on our hands. And, we had a disconnect from the week, so we watched a couple documentaries, and it's wild, dude.
Does it make you want to read Grapes of Wrath?
No, and I'll tell you, and you'll learn why. In the
If you watch the documentary,
because it's kind of alluded to, he might have stolen that book from a woman who actually was writing a journal.
did we talk about this? It seems
I
like
don't think so.
Or I've heard other people talk about
Maybe,
this.
I don't
Maybe.
know. But I found out that there was food available for free to people in the Dust Bowl, and most of them said, no, I'm too proud. So the Dust Bowl didn't have to happen like that. Like they just kind of chose to not eat dirt pies. It's crazy. The whole thing's crazy.
That actually makes me feel good because nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
No.
Get outta here,
Get
you
out of here and eat your socialism.
FEMA.
Yeah. That's what they didn't like socialist programs. So they fed their kids dirt pies. They were eating the air. Kids were dying by the minute, and they're like, I don't want none of your rice.
If you look at the lineage of this country, then I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense. I mean, these are all people that came over from Europe because for religious freedom and
tyranny. Lack of tyranny. I don't know.
Lack of tyranny. But and for the record, I love it here. I've visited other countries. I didn't want to stay.
Rewind the podcast.
I love it here. But we have our critiques, as with any family. That's what America is. We're a big family. Anyone with family, there's some members you like in your family, and some members you're like, I gotta sit next to them, but I'm not gonna like talk to them too much. Yeah. Everyone's got that. We're all one big family. Yeah. That's all.
I killed an uncle. What?
What?
Never happened.
Anyway, but yeah, we watched the Martha Stewart doc, and it's really interesting. All these documentaries about big, powerful people. The Vince McMahon documentary.
I'm almost done that.
And there's a through line there, which is stop being surprised that the most successful people in our world are psychopaths. That's how they got that successful. They didn't get it from being like you and me and the people next to you. Because that's why it's you and me and the people next to you. None of us are flying in a helicopter because none of us only sleep 2 hours a day because our dads never hugged us and said, I love you. If you want your kid to potentially be the next Martha Stewart or Vince McMahon or Elon Musk or potentially the next Dahmer, just don't say I love you and don't hug them and hope that they use that psycho energy for success.
Or do it too much.
Do it too much?
Hug a little too hard. Say I love you a little too long. And they will also turn them into crazy
that's
weirdos.
True. Yeah.
Just moderate.
Was that P. Diddy's dad?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I really like the Martha Stewart doc. It gave us an insight to how her mind works because she cheated on her husband. Mm-hmm. But then
took no responsibility
into her cheating on her husband because she was like, it was a passionate thing, heat of the moment, and then but her husband cheats and she's like, it's over. And I'm like, whoa, that's a real whoop-de-doo there. And it's funny, she loves gardening because her dad, she had a mean dad, made them all garden and grow their own vegetables, and she was all in on it. They interviewed the other siblings. And her older brother's like, I haven't been able to sit in a garden in 80 years because of how mean my dad was. Remember he said that? He's like, I don't eat cucumbers because of my dad. Like he was so here's the thing. If you're going to be that
carrots every time I'm in the supermarket because of that man.
What did he do to you? He made us garden.
Shoved an avocado. Never mind.
That's a David Tell joke. One time there's a terrible gardening accident where I sat on a cucumber. There's two things you need in that moment, two things immediately. A pair of ice tongs and a friend who can keep a secret. It's a great David Tell joke. Horrible reiteration.
Pretty good impression.
It was all right.
It was okay.
I should have had a cold brew and a cigarette. Then it would have been spot on. But yeah, it was a really interesting documentary. If you're going to have kids like that, one of them might end up being Martha Stewart, and the other three will hate you for eternity.
Sure.
So there's that divide that can happen. But it was interesting. She ended up all of her friends abandoned her when she got in trouble with the stock scam thing.
What a weird thing to abandon your friend on. Wait, save that for murder.
Yeah, I know. She'd kill anybody.
Insider trading? Like, just relax. She's getting out soon.
First of all, they all inside trade.
Of course.
You're telling me they're sitting there at the Smith and Walensky's or whatever the other one is.
Or the House Senate floor.
Yeah. You're telling me they're not sitting on Epstein's Island and going, hey, by the way, might want to drop some of that stock. I'm on the board. It ain't looking too hot. And we're about to release the quarterlies.
Don't tell anyone I thought.
Don't tell anyone. So they all do insider trading. But she lost all her friends, and then she made real friends in prison. She was in prison, and she taught business classes to these prisoners, and she led seminars. She taught them to do stuff, and then one of the prisoners was like, yeah, she ended up being just fine with us. In the beginning, she was a little bossy, And then we had to kind of set her straight and let her know that we're all on the same level here. We're all in prison. Yeah. And then, but once she understood that, she talked to us as equals instead of talking down to us. And I was like, wow.
Makes me wish it was a men's prison. I think I'd punch her right square in her head.
Jesus.
Whoa. Right, that would happen.
Yeah,
you walk into a men's prison and start bossing people around, you're going to get clocked.
Yes.
And then you go, not doing that again.
I actually said this to Emma. I go, I think they just politely said that Martha Stewart got her ass kicked in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Because those prisoners didn't say that they did it. They also didn't say that they didn't do it.
There you go.
And Martha Stewart said, hey, we had a conversation. I've seen a lot of prison documentaries. Conversations are usually pretty quick, and they're followed by an ass kicking.
They're usually after something.
Yeah. It's usually...
Now, do you want to do that again?
Yeah. You walk into your cell, and then just a brass-knuckled fist comes out and punches you. And then after you're like, what happened there? You're like, never to eat my tater tots. And then you leave, and you're like, I think I ate that guy's tater tots. So I don't know.
I don't like potatoes.
Yeah. I don't know how that conversation went down, but it was fascinating. It was a 2-hour. Also loved the fact that the Martha Stewart thing was 2 hours. We were in and out.
Yeah, it's good.
It wasn't a series. I don't need to know about her high school track career. Let's move on. Get on with it. Yeah. Bomb. Less series, more. Give it to me in about 90 minutes to 2 hours, and let's get on with it.
And as a track runner, she inspired her to be good at soufflés. No, it didn't. Just stop trying to make connections. Let's move on.
Let's get on with it. How are we doing on time?
Hour one.
Hour one.
Get on with this podcast.
Oh, yeah, she's ready to go home. I can always tell when Emma's ready to go because she'll go.
So
All right, folks.
It gets harder to laugh.
Anyway, that was the show for this week. We're going to crank out a couple more this week, and I don't know why I'm telling you that. Anyway, come to all these shows. By the time you see this, Gramercy will have happened. Go to zoltancomedy.com. There's all sorts of upcoming shows. I'd love to see you at them. Denver and Colorado Springs were awesome this past weekend. Fought through a blizzard to come out to the show, so much appreciate you guys doing that. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal for you as it was for me. But yeah, thank you. Follow Mike, Big Man Mike, on all the social medias. Emma doesn't want any followers. Do not follow her, all right? Block her. She wants to be blocked. And follow me at Zoltan Comedy. Have a great week, you guys. We'll catch you next week.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right.